In today's gospel, we hear two healing stories of women who are suffering. But first, these stories are in the context of his preaching and ministry in the Galilee region at the very beginning of his ministry. So again, here's the map of the landscape of the time of Jesus. Down here in Judea is Jerusalem, but Jesus is preaching up here in the Galilee region. Here, what's in green above here was Nazareth, where Jesus is from, but his preaching usually is around this area, around Capernaum, of that area. And for him crossing in a boat, crossing the water, that on the other side, it could have been at various points of the lake. We don't know. But the story of the healing of these two women takes place in this region of Galilee. Two stories. First is a story about Jairus and his daughter. Jairus is a named elder, a high-ranking official in the synagogue. And his daughter is ill, and he runs to Jesus and says, "Please come with me, come to my home and heal my daughter. She is at the point of death." And they go off towards Jairus' house. Interjected along the way is another story, the story of a woman with a hemorrhage. She has suffered from this for so long, for 12 years. She's at the point of desperation. And she says, "If I could just reach out and touch Jesus, I know I can be healed." And that story takes place, and she does that. There's a crowd following Jesus. In this gospel stories, you have to understand there's usually a crowd around Jesus. So they're following along on the way to Jairus' house, and this woman comes up from behind and touches Jesus. And he feels the power go out of him. And this woman is healed. And he says, "Who touched me?" And the disciples look at him and say, "Come on, look at this crowd." And the woman confesses and said, "I did," because she immediately felt healed. And Jesus calls her daughter and says, "Your faith has healed you, and you are healed." Meanwhile, that story ends. We now go to the story goes to Jairus' house, and the family gathered said, "Don't waste Jesus' time. The daughter has died." And Jesus says, "Everybody get out," and brings the parents of the child. And Jesus takes her by the hand, that power of touch, and says to her, "Little girl, get up." And she is healed, restored to life, and she gets up and is made whole once more. These two stories take place of healing regardless of status, a high-ranking official and a woman who is an outcast because she has been hemorrhaging for 12 years, and in the community she's considered unclean and an outcast. That perspective and the healing power of God is there. One is at the point of death, and the other is at the point of desperation. And it is the power of God and the healing touch of Christ that brings them to life, heals them and restores them to wholeness, and brings them back into the community. They are made whole once more. In our lives this week, think about, what are we at the point of? What is our threshold? Take time to reflect on where we are. Are we at the point of frustration in our lives? Are we at the point of confusion? Are we at the point of despair or the tipping point of depression? Are we at the end of the rope of our patience? Are we at that point of suffering and despair? Or are we at that point of insight, that point of breakthrough, or at that point of celebration? Regardless, God is with us at every point of our lives. And no matter where we are, take that moment to invite God in, to let Christ walk with us at that point, to get to know us so much that God intimately calls us daughter or son or beloved. Allow God to walk with us, to heal us, to change us, to restore us to life where we need that, or to celebrate life with us, no matter where we are at that point. Because God is with us at every point in our lives. And allow that powerful touch of love of God to come and break through us and to heal us and to restore us once more where we need that the most. Amen.